Ladies and gentlemen, the following episode is scheduled for one fall. Coming down the aisle are your hosts of In The Kliq, baby Huey and BrianTronic.
What's up, everybody? Baby Huey here, and joining me once again is my tag team partner, BrianTronic. How's it going, man?
It's going great, Huey. We're back for another one, and I'm ready.
Yeah, I see you are. You're flexing. You got your Undertaker shirt on. You ready to do this?
This Undertaker shirt
yeah,
is like my go-to everyday shirt. It's like comfy. It's black. Like, I don't know. It's just really comfortable.
Is that softer fabric?
Yeah.
I gotta give WWE Shop credit. I feel like lately the newer shirts they've been making, it's been like that softer fabric, which I'm a big fan of, versus the ones from like years ago. It was like that thick cotton, which was like heavy, and it was just like it was stiff and you couldn't move around. And then
I hated that.
And then a couple years ago, they kind of changed it. It was like halfway between the old cotton and what the shirts are now. Those were a little bit better. But now, like the newer shirts, now they've been printing on. It's like really soft. It's that when I go to like Pro Wrestling Tees and I buy a shirt off there, I always pay like the extra $2-3 for the softer fabric. So WWE is like starting to use that same type of fabric. So I'm like, I'm all for it. So I get you, man. Like the WWE shirts now are like my go-to shirt for everything, everyday wardrobe.
Everything. I go to Target. I got a wrestling shirt on. I go to the gas station, drop Charlie off at school. Bye baby. It doesn't matter.
I'm with you. Yes, like it's they're great, comfortable shirts to wear 24/7 now. So yes, you, me, the whole WWE universe now, we're all walking billboards for the company. So proud of it. But just here we are back at it for another episode of In The Kliq. So much to talk about. We got some clickbait news to talk about. We got the fallout from the Royal Rumble on this week's episode on Monday Night Raw. Looking forward to it. But first things first, Brian, I know unfortunately you weren't able to be part of the Royal Rumble review this week. I know it's kind of like a last minute thing I did live Saturday night, but I would love to kind of get some of your takeaways, your views, your review from Royal Rumble. So I'll just throw it to you, man. Just give me kind of your overall thoughts about it. But yeah, first things first, Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, man, the Royal Rumble was really good. Cody winning it, obviously, that was, you know, the right thing to do, the right winner. Everyone obviously expected it. There was still some speculation of, you know, maybe it could be Sami Zayn or Seth Rollins and stuff going into it, but I think we all knew that Cody Rhodes was going to win. It was his to win. And I was very, very excited. I know there was some controversy about him coming in number 30. A lot of fans were upset and like, oh, he should have come in earlier. Like, it's so predictable. But I'll tell you what wasn't predictable, Huey. The nearly 10-minute match that him and Gunther had in the final two. I mean, just an incredible – what was different for me about this year's Royal Rumble, even with Cody at number 30, Gunther and being he was number one, right?
Yep.
Intercontinental champion, being number one, lasting that long. It wasn't even really about him having X amount of eliminations. It was just he didn't back down from anybody, no matter big or small. He was just ready to fight no matter what. And he was tough to eliminate too. A few people tried to eliminate him a couple of times throughout the match, but he was tough to eliminate. And to me, I think that's important to showcase whether you look. Gunther wasn't going to win the Royal Rumble, right? But it was important to showcase how much of a beast he is. He's been on a roll, Intercontinental champion. I'm excited for him. You know, his first WrestleMania is going to be big for him.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I'm very happy for Gunther. And now here we are. 4 days since the Royal Rumble, and I'm still just extremely happy for him. While he didn't win, his performance is just really prove any doubters about him, or it just proves to the WWE Universe this is a major player in WWE on the main roster for years to come. This is someone Triple H has a lot of high hopes on and believes in and is going to push very well. And so based on this performance at the Royal Rumble, I'm extremely excited for him, happy for him. And I can't wait to see where he goes from here. His stock is at an all-time high right now. I think as far as on a mainstream level, it's great. Like I said, I'm so happy for him. He now has the longest in-ring performance, or lasting the longest in a traditional Royal Rumble match. He was, as you said, he was a force in the ring. It was tough to eliminate him. He was also, not backing down from anyone. Like you said, he stood face to face with Brock Lesnar, did not back down. So this was, I think that moment with Brock Lesnar for Gunther was a little bit of a moment where we kind of got to see the excitement from Gunther, because I don't know if you could see, but he was kind of like smiling at Brock Lesnar for a quick second. It was surreal to see. How many people have we seen go up against Brock Lesnar and just stand toe to toe with him face to face? Not very many. No. Especially in the last 10 years or so. Yeah. Like it's been crazy. Another thing too, he was banged up. I was looking at Gunther's back and it was all scarred and bleeding blood from the Elias guitar shot. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, whoa, he's still in there toughing it out even with his back like that. I know that had to feel not very comfortable.
But that's the thing. I think for anyone who watched this, like I said, even though he did not win, this was a big coming out party for him to let everyone know this is someone Triple H has big plans for. And I'm just happy for him. I think this is what the highest viewed Royal Rumble pay-per-view ever. So a lot of people got to see his performance. And, Gunther is now getting well known amongst the WWE or mainstream wrestling media, whatever, all that stuff. So like I said, I'm very happy for him. And also just it puts a lot more respect and prestige back into the IC title. And it's just, I cannot wait to see what's next for him. And it's that type of gut performance that's really going to help him long term. And I hope, I think John LaRocca said this when I guest appeared on his podcast, the Take It Home podcast earlier this month. He hopes that Gunther can break Honky Tonk Man's longest IC title reign. And I think that's something they'll do. They had Roman. Roman has this long streak. The Usos broke the New Day's tag team title reign. I'm hopeful that Gunther maybe can be the one to break Honky Tonk's IC title reign. Just
Honky Tonk's over 1,000 days, or
it was 400 something. I believe
400 something. Okay.
Yeah. So
I saw something.
So awesome. I think for Gunther that will be through SummerSlam. I think that's through the summer, because he won it back in May, June last year. I want to say off Ricochet. So Gunther, like I said, very happy. Cody Rhodes very happy. Women's match very happy for Rhea. We'll get into Rhea a little bit. But yeah, we got to turn to Pitch Black match. What you think of that one?
It wasn't as bad as the Red Light Hell in a Cell combo. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was different. I liked that. Like Bray had like the glowing like graffiti on his arms. And the paint on his face was cool. LA Knight's trunks were cool. It was a good idea. For a sponsored match, it was okay. It was decent, but I think that they should stay away from stuff like that for Bray Wyatt in the future going forward.
I just worry for Bray, while he has such a creative mind.
Yeah.
If in the world of pro wrestling in 2023, where how real everything is, if what's the term? Not magical, mythical, Undertaker was like not magical. What's the term I'm thinking of? Fantasy, supernatural. There you go. Thank you. Bray is very much trying to do like a supernatural type of wrestler. And I just wonder, in today's just culture that we live in, the world that we live in, if it's really believable and can it be executed in a way where it's somewhat believable, which I'm worried that they can't. So I think like this Pitch Black match was supposed to represent some sort of supernatural presence of him, but I think the realism of it is very low. So I think a lot of people just kind of look at it like, what the hell are you looking? You look like just like kind of odd performer. So I think that's where I'm curious if like what little kids think of it. You know, here we are, we're grown men in our 30s who are like looking at this. And I think there's a lot of older wrestling fans who saw and kind of was scratching their head like, what are we watching here? But I mean, from a kid standpoint, your perception is much different. And
It's a good, yeah.
You know what I mean? You're more like you're more open-minded to it. You're kind of like taking it for what it is. You're like, whoa. So from a kid standpoint, they probably think this is the coolest thing ever. So I do got to kind of take a step back and think it like that.
Us as fans, I'm glad you said that because I forgot about that. You know, like it's like, oh yeah, I forgot kids. Like, you know, we're not the only wrestling fans.
Yeah. Damn it, you just performed for me only. no one else. I think that's the problem with a lot of the internet wrestling community. Yes. They get mad if something's not done their way and was like, well, hello, they're performing for millions of people. You're just one of thousands, if not millions of people watching. So not everything is going to fall to your taste and liking. So just deal with it. So, but it's fine. So I'm curious now. I hope LA Knight just moves on. Give him something else. He needs to move on. He's gotten himself over during this whole feud for the last few months. So let him move on. Bray, I'm curious what he goes next after this. So for both parties, we'll see where it goes here. Main event, obviously Kevin Owens loses. Roman Reigns wins, retains. The beatdown of Sami Zayn. He turns on Roman, hits him with a chair. And the bloodline attacks him. But not Jay. Jay leaves, takes off. So, what do you think about that whole conclusion to Royal Rumble? Like, a lot of people were questioning why the men's Royal Rumble was going on first and not last, but now it makes sense. This huge angle took place, and everyone's still buzzing and talking about it 4 days later.
Yeah, it was good, man. That was some good stuff. And what made it even better was that leading up to it, you just didn't know what was going to happen. You know, a lot of times we see it coming. Obviously, everyone knew at some point Sami Zayn was going to get kicked out of the bloodline. He was going to get beat up, right? But the way they went about it, I don't think anyone really predicted. I don't think no one predicted Sami being the one to be the reason that a beatdown would happen to him. Right, because the bloodline, they were welcoming him with open arms. Roman was telling them, you know, you're with us now. He literally told him, when you're in this ring, this is your ring. When you're with us, the bloodline. And I mean, the way it was told, it just doesn't get any better than that.
I've heard people online say this is a time WWE should get an Emmy Award for that performance. Yeah. This is TV, scripted television. And the dramatics and the storytelling has been amazing. This storyline alone should be up for some sort of award, like TV Emmys or something like that. So I'm totally with you. It was such great cinematic art presented to us. You can make the argument. Well, no, I mean, hands down, this is the best storyline in the last 20 years of the 2000s. But now you look back in the grand scheme of things of all WWE history, where this ranks. I know people, you probably say the greatest storyline in WWE history is Austin versus McMahon. This could easily be debate for maybe number 2. Maybe number 3 would be Hogan, Macho Man, the Mega Powers breaking up, and that feud that happened there. I'm trying to think of the other epic storylines in WWE, but hands down, this is the best storyline in the last 20 years for WWE. So,
and every single one involved has been phenomenal. Jimmy has come along in the last few months. Paul Heyman, obviously, Sami Zayn from the beginning, Roman Reigns again. Just when before the Sami Zayn stuff started happening, Roman Reigns, I seen the tweets. I seen a lot of people talking about how he was kind of getting boring. He was kind of falling off. There's no one else really for him to beat. He's beating everybody. He's kind of getting stale. I mean, this whole bloodline Sami Zayn story is really I think made Roman better. Performance, not only in the ring, right, during his matches throughout, talking trash, doing crazy stuff. I mean, whether it's Logan Paul, Kevin Owens, Daniel Bryan, Edge, Cesaro, every time he gets in the ring, he always brings something different, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like the one thing that we don't get all the time is that emotion. I mean, he was almost crying again after what Sami had did to him, and I don't even know how to explain it, Huey. It was good.
You felt the emotions. Like I rewatched it again. I saw you tweet out. You rewatched it again, and it's still just as good. I mean, I watched it. My brother didn't watch it live. He watched it the next day, and I sat there with him to get watch his reaction, and he was like, "Whoa!" It was just amazing. So, everyone's been doing amazing in their roles in this storyline, and we'll get into it in a second because when we talk about Monday Night Raw. And we'll talk about Cody, his promo announcing he's going to take on Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. My concern, and I showed you a video last night, I'm concerned that the fans, I hope, do not turn on Cody because they want Sami Zayn in that role. So we'll discuss more of that in a second there. But let's go ahead and jump into some clickbait news. And this one, I want to touch on because, it involves my all-time favorite wrestler, Stone Cold Steve Austin. But it looks like as the news came out in the last 24 hours, word's coming out that Stone Cold Steve Austin is not expected to wrestle at WrestleMania 39. And this is coming off on the heels of The Rock news within the last couple of weeks that he's not going to be at WrestleMania, it looks like. So the two big icons that were rumored to be at WrestleMania in LA this year are not going to be there. Specifically with Stone Cold Steve Austin. So on Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer provided an update on Austin's WrestleMania status. And he said Austin was offered matches for WrestleMania, but he has turned down wrestling at the event. He said, quote, "As far as Austin goes, Steve might be at the show. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all. He might do something on the show, but he did, in fact, turn down wrestling at the show." And then Meltzer also added he was offered Brock Lesnar. He was offered Roman Reigns. He could have named his opponent if he wanted to do it with anybody else, but he did not choose to wrestle on the show. And then Meltzer added that it's a similar situation regarding The Rock WrestleMania 39 status. The Rock felt he didn't have time to get into the type of shape he would need to be in for WrestleMania caliber main event for this year. But Meltzer said the door was left open for The Rock to wrestle at WrestleMania 2024, so which is WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia next year. So let's touch on both these guys here with with Stone Cold. What are your thoughts on Stone Cold just turning down to wrestle at WrestleMania? And then also we haven't had a chance to talk about it, but yeah, it looks like the rumor where he was offered Roman Reigns and or Brock Lesnar. So yeah, just overall your thoughts. Stone Cold not going to be wrestling.
I'm kind of glad because you really want to have. It's a tough situation because if you have Stone Cold be at WrestleMania of all shows, right? You want him to win. If he's going to be losing, I feel like it's got to be against something or someone in a story that makes sense. Even now, even though Stone Cold's not an active performer. Hasn't been around like he's not a full-time wrestler, right? I feel like still you don't want to, tarnish, the legend of Stone Cold Steve Austin by having him go out there and, lose to anybody. The names that they were mentioned. Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar's something that I feel like would be interesting to see, but I don't know if Steve can take bumps like that.
Yes. Yeah.
And Roman Reigns, I feel like doesn't need to beat Stone Cold, really shouldn't beat Stone Cold to prove the point that he's like the head of the table or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For me, as a fan, of course, I'm a little selfish and be like, oh, I would love to see him wrestle one more time. But then again, at the same time, I think how things ended last year, that's probably the perfect way to wrap up his story completely, his career. We were fortunate to see that in person in Dallas at WrestleMania. It was his first match in 19 years. He looked great. It was in his home state of Texas. He won. The match was fun. Him and Kevin Owens put on a great show. And the story made sense as far as Kevin Owens using the stunner, calling out Austin, making fun of Texas. It just all worked nicely. And the story and the match itself was great. They brawled all over the place. While it was a last minute decision to call it a match, it was still great as far as they just fought all over the place and stuff. And overall, it was very entertaining. But
I feel like, I was going to say, I feel like a Stone Cold appearance or match at WrestleMania would only make sense if it was against someone like The Rock.
Yeah, I can see that
at this
too.
point.
Yeah, because I mean, like, and then he got to stun Vince McMahon on day number 2 or night number 2 WrestleMania last year. So he got to take out his biggest enemy one more time and head off into the sunset. And it's like the old cowboy came back for one more, won the match, and was able to go home and just be happy. There's not a lot of people we know like Shawn Michaels and other people who come back and do one more and, it doesn't look that good. And you're like, oh, the question, should they have came back for one more? Did they push their luck? With Austin, he risked it all. His legacy, his story was perfect going out on top where, he lost to The Rock in 2003, but was able to walk out on his own 2 feet, still in the prime of his career. And, end on a high note, like Seinfeld, end on a high note. Sure, we would love to see him wrestle more after that, but, injuries and all that stuff prevented that. But able to come back and risk his legacy for one more match, and how great it turned out. It's a whole new layer to the story, to the conclusion, and perfect. I am worried, though, if he did try to push his luck and come back for one more at WrestleMania LA, it could maybe affect his legacy. Maybe the match, if he did have one more in LA, maybe it wouldn't be as good as the one with Kevin Owens. And then people would be like, oh, see, another guy who came back and tried to push his luck and try to do one more and should have just stayed home. That's what I'm concerned for. And so for the sake of just protecting him, I'm kind of glad maybe he's not going to do it. And also, you're right. If it's against Brock Lesnar, I do not want to see Austin, who's almost, 60, taking a German suplex from Brock. I don't know how much money was offered to him. I don't think there's enough money that they can offer him to take one and just mess up his neck and back. No, it's not worth it. Now, I get it. There is history because when Austin took his ball home and went home back in 2002, it was because of the match that they were trying to do on a random episode of Monday Night Raw against Brock Lesnar. So there is a story they could tap into. But I do not want to see Austin taking a bump from him. Now, when it comes to the Roman stuff, I'm guessing like what you just said. I think maybe the powers that be and creative are trying to think of what else could they do to solidify Roman Reigns' legacy of this amazing title reign in the modern wrestling era. And so they probably think we need him to beat a legend from like the Attitude Era to really solidify his reign as one of the all-time greatest. And I think that was the whole point of the Rock match that everyone's been rumored that they're going to have for the last couple of years. Was not only is he beat someone from the family, the tribal family, but also it's someone from the Attitude Era, one of the biggest stars, and really solidify, put over Roman Reigns as one of the all-time greats. Now that Rock is rumored he's not going to be in shape to perform WrestleMania. It's like, okay, what's the next best option? Oh, Stone Cold Steve Austin from that era. So that's the only reason why I think they probably threw Roman as an option, Stone Cold. They just want to give Roman someone to beat and to solidify his title reign. And I'm like, no, I don't want to see Austin doing the job for someone. He doesn't need to. There's no point. So I do not want to see that. So
yes.
Yeah, so that's kind of where my thinking was when it came to this. But yeah, so real quick with The Rock, though, your thoughts on him not being in shape. And I know that people were saying he's in shape all the time. He wrestled. I mean, he weightlifts. He's in amazing shape. But there's a difference between in-ring shape and like looking physically good, right?
Yeah, I agree. And I think at this point, if he's not going to be in the type of shape to come back, and I'm not saying give 5-star match right? But if you can't give 5-star effort, you shouldn't be in there.
Yeah.
All right. And I know The Rock. We all know The Rock.
You know The Rock?
Comes back.
Like personally?
Of course I do. Well, I would say yes, but Phil.
I know, yeah.
He's in the family.
We know Phil is at the kiddie table outside in the backyard. He's nowhere near the head of the table. Love you, Phil.
The Rock, yes.
If he's listening to this.
Like Rock, I feel like if he says he's not in ring shape, then I would much rather him pass on a match with Roman Reigns, even though it's been teased and everyone's been anticipated, everyone's been waiting for it. I feel like for a year, maybe more than that now, right? But this is blessing in disguise almost. I mean, if there's no Stone Cold Rock in ring, doesn't mean we can't get them in, showing up in promo or backstage segment or something. And I feel like this opens up for more current talent to get an opportunity on the card. I feel like WrestleMania should be headed in the direction. I know it's the biggest show. It's the biggest stage. You want as many stars as possible. But that's the problem. I feel like with WWE is that they don't have any new stars, and I think part of that is relying so much on, the old stars to come back and take up those spots on a WrestleMania or a Survivor Series or Royal Rumble, which is why I had no issue with this year's Royal Rumble, with there not being any too many legends and stuff, because I know that's what we're used to, but it feels good that it seems like they're trying to steer away from that and focus on the actual talent that are on the rosters and give them that opportunity, true opportunity, because we all know, even though we love the callbacks and, oh my God, the Godfather, oh my God, all these people coming back, we know that they're not winning the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
So it's almost it's a waste of a spot. And I feel like people are fine with that, but then they get mad at Rey Mysterio, who didn't make it to the ring. Right, but storyline wise, it made sense. Dominic came out the next number and he had the mask on and he was ripping it. It just made sense, right? And so I feel like I'd rather those spots than the Godfather and Ron Simmons and JBL. We got Booker T in the men's, and Michelle McCool in the women's. I feel like 1 or 2 is good.
Yeah, Yeah, no, I'm glad. Well, a couple things. One, you did bring Rey Mysterio, which when we record the Royal Rumble review, we didn't know at the time. I guess apparently he was actually legit beat up just from his match with Karrion Kross the night before on SmackDown. So
Kross
it looks
was slamming him around.
So sounds like he was injured, beat up. So they just prevented him from going to the Rumble. So it looks like it was a perfect opportunity to make that into a storyline involving Dominic taking him out backstage before he came out to the Royal Rumble match. So
in disguise.
Perfect. And so, it sets up, potentially a match for them at WrestleMania. But also you brought up a good thing, like what John LaRocca said at the Royal Rumble review, is I enjoyed this Royal Rumble match. I thought it was solid. And I know people online complain, oh man, there's no surprises. There was no big entrances or returns. And it's like, well, that's the problem. We got so conditioned for so many years from bad booking that they got lazy and just relied on these returns instead of trying to tell compelling storylines with the current roster and trying to create new superstars, the next generation of talent that are going to be the faces for the company for years to come. And so I'm glad the way Triple H booked this Royal Rumble, the focus was just on the current roster. As you said, the big surprise was Booker T, but everyone else was announced beforehand. And it's the current roster. So they're just really building up this current staff of wrestlers that they have with the company and building them up. Cody Rhodes wins. He's going to be, main eventing WrestleMania, putting him over as the next big star for the company. Gunther's performance, that's someone else that's going to be carrying this company for years to come. So that was the whole point of this Royal Rumble, was establishing new stars for years to come. Because as you said, for so many years, we got used to people from the Attitude Era or Ruthless Aggression Era coming in, making appearances. But let's be honest, in a few years, they're going to become too old to make returns. And you can only go to that well so many times before it dries out, and you have no one, and then you're stuck and you have no new talent, no new superstars to work with. So I'm glad with Triple H in charge of creative, he's creating new stars and focusing on this crop, this batch of talent, and using them. And that's why I love this Rumble. So yeah, to everyone who said, oh, this one sucked, whatever. Go back and rewatch an old Royal Rumble or something then. Whatever. Rumble.
I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah. But then with that being said, oh my God, I lost my train of thought. Oh, but so with Cody Rhodes winning, that was very important. And so, going back to, like you said, with Austin not coming and The Rock not coming, I'm happy for Cody Rhodes now, because that kind of frees up the space, as you said a second ago, as far as not having Austin and Rock. Sure, maybe longtime fans would love to see them, but it also does take away space from the current roster. So remember, was it last month, there was rumor of maybe they'll split the titles, Roman, Rock, one night, night 2 for the Universal, Seth, Cody, night 1 for the WWE Championship. That looks like it's out the door now. As of right now, at the time of this recording on Wednesday, February 1st, Roman's keeping both titles, and he's going to face Cody for the titles at, I'm guessing, night 2 of WrestleMania. That's the plan. This is great, and I'm happy for Cody. So you can actually, I think in some ways, Cody can thank Austin The Rock not coming, and that guarantees his spot in the main event for the titles, and they won't overshadow Cody's matchup here. So I think that's also a blessing in disguise we need to really think about here for a second.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Yeah. So with that being said, so let's go ahead and jump into Monday Night Raw. Segue. Speaking of Cody Rhodes. So Monday Night Raw, the Fallout episode of the Royal Rumble, kicked off with Cody Rhodes making his return to Monday Night Raw. It's been the last time we saw him was the night after Hell in a Cell, right? Or the Raw after Hell in a Cell, where he won, Seth attacked him, and that's when they wrote him off TV, and he got his pectoral surgery and recovery ever since then. So he comes out and he cuts this great promo, very emotional, which that's kind of Cody's MO now. And did you see that tweet? I retweeted. It's like the trilogy of actually, I could play this, but AEW, his last, I think, major promo in AEW, his first promo in WWE, and then this past Monday, he's like, what do you want to talk about? So actually, I could probably play the audio here on my computer now, but actually, I'm just gonna try this. I got something new. Okay, for the Kliqsters listening right now, I got a Rodecaster Pro 2 now, and I think I could play audio better playback for you guys here. So I'm gonna try this.
Yes.
So, what do you guys want to talk about?
All right, it did play. Perfect. You heard it okay, Brian?
Yes.
Cool. All right.
Perfect.
We sound like it's starting again.
So,
Oops, sorry. Working the kinks out here. But yeah, we sound like a sports talk radio show playing back highlights.
That's right.
But I like how he started out. And then, long story short, he goes into just, a reminder of his history, went on the quote excursion. I like that's what he's calling it now. His time away from WWE for the last 7 years, excursion, which we all know, went on the indie scene. He formed AEW. I haven't finished his interview with Logan Paul on this week's episode of Impulsive. Have you had a chance to finish it?
Yeah, I did. It was good, man. I enjoy listening to him talk.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't shy away.
Yeah.
From any question. Like, he'll answer it. Even if he doesn't think he should be answering it, he'll still answer it and be like, oops. I didn't know if I was supposed to say that, but whatever.
Yeah, like a Funko Pop apparently is coming out with the pec torn. Well, he even said, he says, guys, just apologize in advance how many merchandise and action figures are going to come out with the torn pec on it. So, hey, I give them credit, man. They're going to capitalize on that insane Hell in a Cell performance of his. So, so I need to finish it. But from what I've heard so far, I just enjoy, how passionate he cares about pro wrestling, the business, and just he's very open. He name dropped AEW, talked about Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley as two of the great wrestlers right now, but still gave a lot of love for Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. So I just love how much he cares about wrestling and just trying to keep it going. So But going back to Monday Night Raw, his promo, he just said, he would not change a thing. He would not tell anything to his young self. He would just do the whole thing again. If he had a chance to do it all over, keep it as is and just hustle and fight his way back to where he is now. And then more or less said, in his song, wrestling has more than one royal family. And he said it is true. In pro wrestling, there's the Rhodes family, there's all these other families, and then referring to Roman Reigns' family, the Samoan dynasty, the tribal family, tribal chief family. And he just more or less called out Roman Reigns and says, I challenge you for the title at WrestleMania. So what do you think about Cody Rhodes' opening promo on Monday Night Raw this week?
It was good. Like I said, he just knows how to get you, right? Like make you sit, listen, try to understand everything he's saying. Sometimes when he talks really slow and he's very methodical. Like he breaks down everything he's saying. But ultimately, the official challenge for Roman Reigns, and I think he even said it. I'm not sure if it was the press conference or if it was on Logan Paul's podcast, but he said that up till now, he's been trying to avoid even speaking about Roman Reigns or even saying his name, right? Just been kind of keeping everything separate, which it's really cool about the situation because ever since he's come back, he hasn't. I mean, we've seen Karrion Kross come back and say he wants Roman, he wants the title on TikTok, right? But someone like Cody, I know some of the Kliqsters probably listen to this like, Karrion Kross, ew. I love Kross. But it was a good promo, and I'm excited. I'm glad that he was able to go out there, kind of give like a brief summary, kind of like everything he said after WrestleMania when he came back on, the Raw after Mania and said what his goal was. Him to come back now after winning the Royal Rumble and just be like, hey, I'm one step closer. Roman, I'm coming for you.
I liked how he said, originally he was undesirable. Then he became undeniable. Now the next step is uncrown, or he's uncrowned. So he needs to dethrone Roman Reigns there. So it just, the story writes itself. So going off that though, let's touch on the elephant in the room. Obviously, Sami Zayn, his performance at the Royal Rumble, he took the chair, hit Roman Reigns, very much like Seth Rollins did with the Shield back in the day, to stop Roman from attacking his friend, Kevin Owens. So he ultimately turned the bloodline and took out Roman Reigns. But then, of course, he got laid out. At the same time, Jey Uso was upset. He stopped partaking and left. With that being said, now in the last few days, for the fallout of Royal Rumble, there's been a big debate online is who should face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Now, sure, on Monday Night Raw, we see Cody Rhodes, who won the Royal Rumble, says, I challenge Roman Reigns, or I will challenge Roman Reigns for the title at WrestleMania. A lot of people are saying Sami Zayn should be the one to beat Roman Reigns now because he has this organic popularity that's taken off and he's so over with the WWE Universe. So for me, my question to you is like, when Cody, tore his pec, had that amazing Hell in a Cell match with Seth Rollins and said, I'm going to be gone for a while to recover. Everyone's like, oh my God, this story writes itself. He has this gutsy performance against Seth Rollins, Hell in a Cell. Now he's gone for 6 months recovering. He's going to return to the Royal Rumble, win it, and then challenge Roman Reigns and beat him. And it follows up. It's the conclusion to his story. He started last year WrestleMania, the night after, the Raw after, and said he wants the title his dad never had. So it writes itself, like the emotion to support Cody as this babyface. It's there. But now, unfortunately, during his time away, Sami Zayn has come into the fold and risen up in popularity. And since he's directly involved with the bloodline and Roman Reigns' story, people want to see him. So my question to you is, are you concerned or worried at all that Sami Zayn is going to overshadow Cody Rhodes' road to WrestleMania for that title? And do you have any concerns that, Cody Rhodes, the fans might turn on him at some point?
So, not really, because I feel like everyone knows the purpose. I think we're clear. I think it's clear. But before, maybe had we not seen a turn, right? Had Sami Zayn not turned his back on the bloodline at the Royal Rumble and everything was still together how it was prior to the Rumble, I think Cody would have been in trouble because there would have been more room for people to go, oh no, they just beat up Sami. Oh my gosh, Elimination Chamber is in 2 weeks. We got to pull through. We want Sami to win. You know what I mean? I think with everything happening at the Rumble, Cody winning, Sami Zayn going down, I think is an important piece of this whole situation. I think it was important the way that they wrote it up, Jey Uso not participating. I think it got everyone talking. Everyone's anticipating and thinking that Jey Uso is gonna rejoin the bloodline. I know he was on social media saying he's out.
He's done.
He's done.
Running back.
He told Roman, run it back.
And let's bring back main event Jey Uso. Oh, there's a great tweet here. Let me see how long it is. I don't know. It might be too long to read. I retweeted it a couple days ago. Let me see how long it is. It's a little long. Maybe next episode I could read this. The one I showed you about this guy explaining kind of the whole conflict with Sami Zayn and Jey Uso and where they're coming from, or why Jey Uso is so conflicted right now, because they see a lot of himself in Sami Zayn, and Sami did what he always wanted to do, was to ultimately stand down Roman Reigns and accept. So Sami said, I'm done, and leaves, while he ultimately fell in line, going back to like 2.5 years ago. So for me, I think Triple H and them, the creative team, they did it smart. They handled this really well. If you listen to the review of the Royal Rumble, I mentioned I was concerned going into this, if Sami was in the Royal Rumble or not in the Royal Rumble and Cody won, he was going to get booed, very much like Batista did at the 2014 Royal Rumble, or Roman Reigns was, Roman Reigns was to 24. Which one was that? My dates are getting mixed up. But, when Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble and Daniel Bryan did not show up, he got booed. Even when The Rock in the ring trying to hold his hand up, he got booed.
2015, right?
And then Batista was the following year. Batista was 2014. And he won, and people got pissed because Daniel Bryan didn't win. But ultimately, Daniel Bryan was able to win at WrestleMania because the people, or Vince and the powers that be, listened to the audience. But anyway, what I'm getting at, what I like what Triple H did smart strategically in the kickoff show, Roman told Sami, your job tonight is to sit here with me. You're on my hip. You're not going anywhere, which is perfect how they wrote him off for the reason why he was not in the Royal Rumble this year. Perfect. So got that out of the way. So people watching Royal Rumble are not like waiting to see when Sami's going to show up and try to win it. He was written off from the beginning. And then therefore they let things open for Cody to win. And the crowd popped for Cody when he won. So they're still excited. Now, like I said, here we are on the road to WrestleMania, but also before that, Elimination Chamber. So it looks like, and there was kind of a leaked already, the chairs for Elimination Chamber has Sami Zayn's face on it. It's going to be in Montreal. The powers that be, or the rumor is that it's going to be Sami versus Roman in Montreal at Elimination Chamber in the main event, which I think is great. Great way to, for them to fight there. Now, okay, how do you deflect the attention from Cody by doing it there? I think that's a smart way. But what I told you, remember I told you guys in the Royal Rumble predictions a couple weeks ago or last week, are people going to be satisfied with that conclusion though? Everyone anticipates, a lot of people want to see Sami versus Roman main event WrestleMania. Sami dethrone Roman for the titles. Everyone's like, that's the best conclusion. I don't know if that's the right way fully. I think the second option is what a lot of people were speculating originally, was Kevin and Sami reunite as best friends, take on the Usos, beat them for the titles. They reunite as best friends and are tag team titles. I think that's the plan they're going to go with. And so they're going to give the fans what they want, Sami versus Roman, but it's not going to be WrestleMania. It's going to be Elimination Chamber, and that's going to set up for the tag titles at WrestleMania. And I think the easiest way you can do that is maybe Jay comes out, costs Sami the match, and that way Roman retains, so he still has the titles, therefore can take on Cody at WrestleMania. Sami loses in defeat, still gets a hometown pop from the crowd. People still love him, sympathize with him. I think Jay right now is like just going rogue. We don't know what he's doing right now. He's so upset. He's so torn. And I've seen these like in what, if anyone's watched Sons of Anarchy on FX back in the day, there were guys in Sam Crow who were in the motorcycle club, but were conflicted in something. They would go off on their own, conflicted, and they come back. But then, different. It's like I said, this story, the Bloodline story, has been seen in mobster movies, club movies, all that stuff. So I think what happens is, go ahead.
I feel like it's possible we see the right-hand man return in Montreal. The true right-hand man, the real right-hand man, the original, right? Because we've seen Sami be the one to kind of act as the right-hand man to everybody, to Jimmy and Jay. Reason why they're still tag champs, right? Coming in when Jimmy went down on Monday Night Raw, helping, taking the bullet, like Jay said, standing in the way, getting hit with chairs, claymores, all types of stuff. And so, and in this situation right here, I think, and maybe we'll see it in the coming weeks on SmackDown, maybe he'll be given a type of ultimatum. It's things are handled different, family, right? We all knew that Sami Zayn wasn't blood, he wasn't family. Yeah. So they had to do what they had to do, right? But I think Roman will take an opportunity to hear Jay out and see what's going on there. And I think the perfect situation is for Jay to kind of cost Sami, to now redirect Sami's goal or mine and say, okay, I didn't achieve that right, going after Roman, becoming champion, but you know what? Now my intention is on you, Jay. Me and Kevin, we tried at the Tribal Chief and we didn't get it done. But I know that if we get together, we can finally be the ones to take those tag titles off you guys. Yeah. And I think it works out perfect that way.
Yeah, and you're right. I think that's the easier route, is let Roman, Sami fight Montreal one-on-one. Jay comes back, ultimately realigns with Roman, prevents Sami from winning, costs him the match. And then after that, Roman goes off to face Cody, and all the attention between them to take off from there. Sami redirects his energy towards Jay and wants revenge against him, and realigns with Kevin Owens. And then they realize together, let's take out the Usos. And that sets up the match for WrestleMania. Now, I wonder if that's still a perfect conclusion, because we want to see Sami win something. Him and Kevin getting the tag titles be great. Now, for my only concern is Jay and his character arc right now. He's conflicted. He sees himself in Sami. Sami got to do something that he always wanted to do, was take out Roman. And so I wonder, for the sake of Sami's character arc, what's the right conclusion for him in all this? Because I still think the bloodline ultimately is going to fall apart after WrestleMania, because we know Solo is loyal to Roman. He's just like the hired gun, the monster, the weapon. He just takes out whatever. Jimmy, I know there's some promos. If you look back now, he told Roman, like, no, Sami's cool. We're buddies. We're friends. But you're family. Like, I'm with you. So he told Roman, like, I am loyal to you. So I think for Jimmy, he's playing the role right. That's why he told, Jay, you say he's your brother? I'm your brother. And that's why he was the first one to take out Sami with the kick, because he was so pissed. That was tough.
Huey, that was
Jimmy was torn. It's like, dude, you're my brother, but you're like concerned about Sami. Why do you care about him? I'm your actual brother. You should be concerned about me. So Jimmy was pissed and like took out took out Sami, and so I like what Jimmy did in that role. He was torn. He was like, screw this guy. He turned on us. You're my brother. We stick together. So, but what I'm trying to think is, I bet you Kevin, Sami versus the Usos, probably main events night one, maybe. That can be, I don't think it's ever done before, like a tag team match is main evented a Mania. But let that maybe main event night one. Then maybe night two, the Usos, who are now no longer tag champs, are going to try to go after and help Roman beat Cody. But maybe Sami comes out and intervenes and steps into Jay and be like, you don't have to do this, man. You don't need to help Roman. You can leave now. Be like me and leave. And maybe they're like, all right, you're right. We're not going to help Roman anymore. And then that way Cody can cleanly beat Roman one-on-one. And then that way Jay can maybe get some peace. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to think from a character standpoint, for morale.
You know what?
The humanity.
You know what way you can also go with it? You can also go with maybe Solo being the one to, let's say the Usos lose the titles, right? Night one. And then night two, I would say the Usos are getting ready to go out and help Roman. But then Solo goes, wait, we're brothers, right? All three of us. Listen to your brother. I know I'm the youngest, but listen. He didn't help you guys last night. When it came down to it, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
He only cares about himself. He didn't help you guys to keep
retain your tag title.
Why are we helping him? Let's let him. He wanted to come out here on his own. He didn't want to know how he's the tribal chief, right? Then let him do it, but let him do it on his own.
That's what this whole Roman story is. He's so concerned or narcissistic about keeping the title and being at the head of the table. He's willing to manipulate anyone to fall in line, do what he says to help him, use them to help him stay at the top. He's so power hungry, and that's ultimately what's going to lead to his fall, is him just overusing everyone, and people are going to realize, screw you, I'm done. And so I really do think the bloodline will kind of dissolve after this, or maybe some type of civil war or something. It's going to break apart. So FYI, jump on WWEshop.com. Get all your bloodline shirts now while you can. so
we got a few more months.
A few more months before I think the bloodline story is going to be done now after WrestleMania. So, but that's what I'm saying is, I hope Sami does something to Jay to kind of wrap up their story from a character standpoint, and he helps, like, saves him somehow. Be like, dude, there's still good in you. Like, it's okay. You know, the Darth Vader. John LaRocca made this great analogy. Was, you know, at the end of Royal Rumble, Roman was the Empire, or excuse me, the Emperor. Sami was Darth Vader. Kevin Owens was Luke Skywalker. The Emperor is beating down Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi. Darth Vader ultimately turns good again to save his son. Sami turned good to save Kevin Owens. So great Star Wars analogy there from Return of the Jedi. That's
fantastic, actually.
So I hope there's some sort of redemption for Jay in all this too. So
yeah,
I'm fascinated. That's a great thing about wrestling. Look at this damn story take off. Like, this is so compelling. It's our male soap opera, or everyone's soap opera right now. So anyway, looking forward to what Cody does now. In the meantime, so then, he got confronted by Judgment Day on Raw. Ultimately led to the main event with Finn Balor. So two former Bullet Club leaders going at it in the main event. What'd you think of how that match played out?
I thought that was good. I didn't really think about it until, like, right before the match. I was just like, oh my goodness, wait, Bullet Club, of course. Right?
Yeah.
What popped me hard too was during the segment when they were, making the match, Finn he was like, this mine.
Yeah. Dominic was great here too. He's like, man, I don't care about your dad. I don't care about my dad. I don't care about any's dad. Dominic is doing amazing work now in his character work now. So it's been fun. Ultimately, it led to the main event with Finn and Cody. Great match. Cody picked up the victory. Edge intervened as well early in the show. He's back now. So it looks like Finn and Edge are probably going to settle the score at some point. We also saw, Edge and Beth get involved in the main event to more or less help Cody get the win as well. So it was good.
Huey, real quick, do you know what I like about WWE lately? Triple H's booking, his staff, the current regime, is the fact that you look at Finn Balor, he's got a whole situation with Judgment Day as a whole, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got Edge, right? But like everything is happening, like so many people, not even just Finn, but so many people can be in multiple beefs or multiple stories at once.
Overlapping, yeah.
Kind of, I mean, even carrying Cross, right? Having the whole Madcap Emma thing on top of the Rey Mysterio thing, right? And it's just, that's happening for a lot of people on both Raw and SmackDown. And if you pay close attention to, like, it's not happening, like we don't see it every single week, right? Like it's not like, okay, like it's a treat. Like we get Karrion Kross on SmackDown and then he'll do some whole card thing, right? Like some mind games. And then we probably won't see the match until like 2 weeks, like we did with Mysterio, right? 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
It's like, so this whole thing with Edge has been happening since like what? Before
October?
SummerSlam?
Well, okay. Yeah. I mean, so Rhea aligned with Edge, WrestleMania, and then Finn joined with them like what, a month or two later.
Yeah.
And then SummerSlam. Was it SummerSlam? They all kind of.
SummerSlam, I think.
Was Finn and Edge the first one? Oh, no. Clash at the Castle.
No. Clash at the Castle.
When Dominic joined. And then, Extreme Rules in October where they took out Edge and Beth. So, so that was, 3 months ago, and they're revisiting again. So
now, and it's fresh and it feels good. It doesn't feel forced.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what most of the stuff has been on both Raw and SmackDown with a lot of people, guys and girls. Things are happening that just make sense. We're not just forgetting about things. And so I just want to point that out. That's one thing that I really enjoy about watching Raw and SmackDown.
Absolutely. The other big thing they did announce on Raw this week. So for Elimination Chamber, for the women's Elimination Chamber match, the winner will get a number one contendership match against Bianca Belair for the Raw women's title at WrestleMania. So that is skipping ahead already on Raw. Rhea Ripley does make her decision who she wants to wrestle at WrestleMania. It's Charlotte Flair, which we'll get into that in a second. Yes. For the men's Elimination Chamber, it's actually going to be for the U.S. title, which is different. We've never seen that before, but I'm actually excited because that will elevate the U.S. title. It's like this title is a big deal in Triple H and the creative team. The U.S. title is a very prestigious title. It's so valuable now. It's going to be settled in an Elimination Chamber match to determine the new winner of it. So, your thoughts on, it being up for the U.S. title is going to be for the Elimination Chamber.
I like it. It gives, we got to see Gargano advance to the Elimination Chamber. I feel like this is perfect for guys like him who need some momentum, who needs a match like that to kind of have his moment, his spots, to kind of get the crowd behind him once again. And I know a lot of people are like comparing when he was in NXT and to now. It's probably not as popular now as it used to be, but I feel like this match, win, lose, or draw, for a guy like him, this will be great for him. And then even for the women, I think this is another thing I want to point out. Another big win for the creative team is making it so that the final four, right, if I'm not mistaken, women were inserted into the chamber match already, or the final three or something.
They already announced it. So quick rundown here. So let's just, as you just mentioned, so Seth Rollins beat Chad Gable in a qualifying match for the chamber. So Seth Rollins is in there. Yeah, great match. Johnny Gargano, as you said, beat Baron Corbin, so he qualifies for the United States title elimination chamber match. That was then Bronson Reed beat Dolph Ziggler to qualify for the chamber match. So as of right now, for the men's elimination chamber match, you got Austin Theory, who's the champ. He'll be defending it. Seth Rollins, Johnny Gargano, and Bronson Reed. So they got 2 more spots to fill, but that's a great list. And hey, what's the common thing? They're all Triple H NXT guys in there.
That's
so
right.
I like that. But for the women's elimination chamber, they just went ahead and announced 4 competitors. So Asuka, Liv Morgan, Nikki Cross, and Raquel Rodriguez. So they announced them. So yeah, men's, they got actual qualifying matches. The women's that were just straight up announced. So I know it's like I kind of wish maybe they would have done some qualifying matches for the women's, but maybe it's just a time thing, because that's coming up in this weekend will be 2 weeks away, so it's coming up pretty quick.
Yeah, well, and I think the fact that they at least explain that, all right, we're putting these girls in because they were the final 4 in the Royal Rumble match, or the final 3.
Oh,
they were a part of that final 3. Asuka,
gotcha.
Liv Morgan, and I believe it Raquel.
Yeah, Raquel. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, sorry, I missed that. Bobby Lashley, speaking of Austin Theory, he confronted Austin Theory in the VIP lounge, and it was a little long-winded, that segment.
Oh, that was bad.
But ultimately, Bobby Lashley was trying to attack Austin Theory, but he actually didn't spear MVP. But I guess it's prolonged or delaying the inevitable that her business will eventually get back together at some point. Mm-hmm. I do want to ask, we saw a return, not just Edge, we saw the return of Rick Boogs. He comes out, had a match with The Miz on Adam Pearce's order. And Miz was not prepared. He was in a suit that his wife bought him. But haven't seen Rick Boogs back. I missed him. We saw him get injured at WrestleMania, unfortunately, but has recovered and he's back. But I'm a little surprised they didn't put him back on SmackDown in where he was last time with Shinsuke Nakamura. So I guess that's good. He's going to be on Raw, kind of have maybe his own identity now. So good for him. All right, see what they can do there. I'm just worried, though, they're going to put him with Elias since they're both like the rock stars. Elias has the acoustic guitar. Rick Boogs had the electric guitar. I wonder if they're going to be a tag team like the New Rockers.
That could work, though.
I don't know. We'll see. I do want to. Okay, the Becky Lynch segment I want to ask you about. So we see Bayley come back out to the ring, and she says she's not going to fight Becky. She's not going to get her a match. Ultimately, Becky Lynch comes out on her birthday and says she wants that steel cage match that she was robbed of last week, and so much so she threatened Bayley by revealing that she beat up Dakota Kai, dragged Dakota Kai out, and was ready to hit Dakota Kai with the chair again on her injured leg. And Bayley was like, no. All right. I'll give you the match. I'll give you the steel cage match. What do you think about that segment, the dynamic? If you were just tuning in for the first time, you can almost think that Becky's actions right there were almost like heel-like, and Bayley was like the baby face, like, no. I'll give you what you want. But then again, as someone who's been tuning in a long time, grew up in the Attitude Era, I kind of like this side of Becky. She's just being a badass baby face. It's like, you're a chicken ass heel who thinks you can just do what you want anytime you want. It's my turn now. I'm going to get my way and I'm going to take out other bad people. So it's almost like I've seen was it John Wick or some other movies where the good guy realized he's got to take out a bunch of bad guys to get to the top bad person. And so I don't know what you think of that whole segment right there.
Yeah, I thought it was good, and I agree with you. Looking at it, you can easily be like, "Oh, what's going on here?" But it makes sense. Look, Becky, she's fed up. She wants what she wants, and she's gonna do whatever she needs to do to get it. And hey, if that means she's got to break every bone in Dakota Kai and Io Sky, she's going to do that. And it did remind me of kind of it's funny you say that, like Attitude Era. It does kind of remind you of like a Stone Cold Steve Austin, like someone who was the baby face, right? But did a lot of things that would make people go, wait, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I missed that. Like, I mean, how many times WWE in the last few years has terribly booked baby faces and made them look like idiots? I like seeing a strong baby face. Even Cody Rhodes. Remember when he was in AEW? Remember when Cody Rhodes at the very beginning when Dynamite launched and he had that rivalry with Chris Jericho and he was going after the Inner Circle. He was looking tough. He was a tough baby face. Remember MJF, who was his friend at the time, gave him his scarf. He wrapped up in his hand, hit the glass window to bust through to get to the Inner Circle and attacked him. Like, I like Cody there being a strong baby face. So I like seeing a strong baby face have to fight to get what they want. So Becky's just fighting what she wants here, which is just Bayley.
Well, and she's tough because not only did she say she wanted that cage match, well, she also said, look, give me the cage match and bring your friends. Yeah. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm glad. And ultimately, I'm glad they're doing the make good. So they're going to give us a steel cage match next week on Raw, I believe. So it should be a lot of fun. And as we mentioned last week, I'm sure this is going to, since it's not going to be on Raw 30, it's going to be it's just another episode of Monday Night Raw. I'm sure they'll give it plenty of time. Hell, I hope they let it main event Raw next week. That'd be great.
I was thinking they're going to be in Orlando next week. Wouldn't it be cool if like Damage Control added a new member and it was somebody being called up from NXT? Like maybe
Indy
somehow Adam Pearce bans Io Sky and Dakota Kai from ringside, and they say, you even step foot near that cage, I'm stripping you both of the women's tag championships, right? But then Bayley's got some backup. Bayley's got some connections. At the Performance Center.
I mean that's a great way to add a new member, and we've seen that before in other factions. Well, a faction might be 3 people, and then they ban 2 of them while the one goes into a match, but then they're okay with it because they knew they have a new member coming, and that person is the one who actually makes the save and helps the bad person win. So I could see that.
Or you can even swing the way of maybe Becky Lynch will get some allies, which we've seen. I know we don't want to go backwards here.
Yeah,
we've seen Damage Control versus whoever. They had the War Games and all that, but see, I'm sitting here trying to think like, okay, what's next for Bayley and Becky Lynch, right?
Okay.
Because I know Bayley has Io Sky and Dakota Kai, and any normal person would think like, man, like Becky Lynch needs some backup. She needs some friends, right?
Yeah.
But I guess now I think about it, you just said that maybe that makes Becky Lynch look like the stronger babyface because, look, she doesn't need any friends. She doesn't need anybody to help her. She's going to take them out herself. She's going to do what she has to do.
She got a chair.
I would have her beat up Io. Yeah, I'd have her beat up Io and Dakota earlier in the night just to ensure that it's going to be one-on-one in that steel cage.
Well, maybe, Candice LeRae and Mia Yim or Michin can help out because they've been kind of battling Damage Control as well. Which, on a side note, we don't spend much time on this, but I just want to reference, I wish the women's tag titles get defended again. They're just kind of obsolete again like they were last year. So we'll see. Last thing for Raw we'll touch on before we just run down through some NXT Vengeance Day predictions is, Rhea Ripley came out and cut this promo. And I think a lot of people, after she won the Rumble, thought she should challenge Bianca Belair. Like, there's a story there as far as 2 Triple H's proteges from the women's division in NXT now in the main roster to let them main event, and they've been kind of eyeballing each other off and on for months now. Seems like that's a fresh new storyline on the main roster they can go into. Nope, not the case. Rhea Ripley comes out and ultimately cuts this promo saying, she wrestled Charlotte before 3 years ago, wasn't prepared then, even though she did technically challenge her, right? Or Charlotte challenged her for the NXT title. I'm trying to remember now. It's been and so, but ultimately Rhea Ripley says, I want a rematch. I want to run it back more or less, and challenges Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's title for WrestleMania. So your thoughts on this?
I think in a perfect world, of course, everyone wanted Bianca versus Rhea Ripley, right? But the story. It just is there. Like, of course, Rhea Ripley. She said it, I believe, in the press either it was a press conference or it was a backstage thing on Twitter. If she challenges Charlotte and she beats her, not only will she get that win back, right, from losing to Charlotte, but she'll be a Grand Slam champ. She will have won all the championships. Tag teams, Raw women's, the SmackDown women's, NXT championship. Like, it just, that's the better way to go, in my opinion. Her and Bianca will have
time,
their time. When we talk about historic and setting records, Charlotte Flair's right there.
Yeah, well,
she's the woman to beat.
No, and I see the story. Yeah, it is redemption, payback. Because 3 years ago, Rhea Ripley was NXT Women's Champion, lost to Charlotte at WrestleMania 36 inside the Performance Center. So she wants payback, and then she lost again. Right? What's the triple threat with Io Shirai, I should say, in NXT in your house, right? Is that when Io Shirai won the title that night? She pinned Rhea and Charlotte wasn't pinned. So she wants payback. And so this makes sense. So they can tap into that and they can use old footage of them going at it from the last couple of years. So I could see, there's a built-in story there that I'm guessing Triple H and whoever thought was more compelling. All right, I'll let this play out. And then as you said, if she wins the SmackDown title, she does become a Triple Crown winner for WWE. So it's a big accomplishment for her. But then I'm like, Charlotte only had a 4-month title reign. And then she'll probably win it again later on this year and be one title win away or a couple title wins away from her dad's record. So, but no,
it's all in the plan.
Yes, you're in on that. So no, I'm excited for this. I think it's gonna be good. My only question is, let's say if early predictions, Rhea Ripley wins, she moves over to Friday Night SmackDown. I wonder if the rest of the Judgment Day will go over there. And I anticipate if they have a draft after WrestleMania, I'm guessing the Judgment Day will go to SmackDown, create a havoc down there. I think that's what's going to happen. So that'll be interesting to see. So, solid Fallout episode of Monday Night Raw from Royal Rumble. Here we are on the road to Elimination Chamber. Well, actually, we're on the road to WrestleMania with a stop at Elimination Chamber. So a lot of stuff to look forward to, as Cody Rhodes say, 62 days. Well, now it's less than that, but less than 2 months away. So a lot of stuff to look forward to. Last thing we'll just wrap on for this episode. Let's just go ahead quickly, give our predictions for Vengeance Day, NXT's first big show outside the Performance Center in a long time. This Saturday, it's going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina at the Spectrum Center. 6 matches. Excited, man, to see them perform away from the PC in a different setup. I don't know if it's going to have that same takeover vibe, but I'm glad for a different scenario, because the last time they did this was WrestleMania Stand Deliver last year. So it's been long overdue. And it was,
I will admit, it was a bit premature. It was.
Oh yeah. Back in April. Yeah. But now this talent has had almost 8 months to season. They're ready now. So, okay, let's go ahead and jump into it. So I'm just looking at Wikipedia here. So we got Roxanne Perez defending the NXT Women's Championship against the 2 remaining members of Toxic Attraction, Gigi Dolan, JC Jane, triple threat match after they won that Battle Royal a couple weeks ago, and they both eliminate each other at the same time. Who you got here?
I'm going with Roxanne Perez.
Yeah. First title defense.
She's it.
Yeah. Great performance in the Royal Rumble. Yeah, I think this is her first big title defense. She needs to win this. She's winning. And what better way to kind of get a big win versus 2 people who were part of the top faction in NXT for over a year. So totally.
Throw JC and Gigi out there. Let's see if they can fly.
Yeah. Wesley versus Dijak for the North American Championship. I know Dijak's big thing coming back to NXT, and his new character is collecting titles. I don't know. I think Wesley needs another big win here just to he's just starting out his title reign. I'm picking Wesley.
I got Wesley too. And Dijak, I'm not really sold on Dijak yet.
He's like an 80s villain or hunter, 80s hunter.
Like, maybe like Terminator.
Yeah, like action star. like from a Jean-Claude Van Damme or RoboCop, I don't know, type movie.
There you go.
So
RoboCop is perfect.
Fatal 4-way for the NXT tag titles. The New Day defending against Gallus, Pretty Deadly, and Chase University, who won this week, like the last chance to get in. This is actually, I think it'd be a lot of fun. I mean, you got the New Days, who are one of the greatest tag teams all time, coming down to NXT for a bit. Gallus finally making their big return to NXT from NXT UK. Pretty Deadly have been doing great things for months now. Chase University, who's starting to kind of, I think, win people over. Andre Chase with his new alignment with Duke Hudson in the fold.
Yes.
Who you kind of lean towards, though, for this one?
So I would, if New Day is going to be done, this is a perfect opportunity to put the titles on Chase University. Just because they're so over in the Performance Center, right? Like on TV weekly, week to week. They got their own little Chase University section going on. And so I enjoy it. Even when they won the triple threat to get in the tag team title match, it's like the place came unglued. You know? I mean, it sucks because I wish the Dyad, the former grizzled young veterans, I wish they were in the match, because it'd be nice to see them get a shot at the tag titles again. But I know that they'll get their chance soon. But out of these teams in this Fatal 4-way match, New Day obviously is my first pick. Chase U is my second pick. Oh, it's hard to choose. I'm gonna go with Chase U.
Wow, look at you going out there
in front of the live crowd. The New Day is there to help put the butts in the seats. Yeah, the butts are in the seats now. Now you got to make some stars out of who you got.
So I totally agree with you, man. You think about it. If Grizzled Young Veterans or what's their new names now?
Dyad.
Schism. If they would have been in this match, 3 of the teams would have been NXT UK talent, which I think is pretty cool. Just shows how great that brand was with talent. But I don't know, I have a feeling New Day's going to retain. I think they're going to hold the belts for a little bit. I think they're going to drop them at WrestleMania weekend at Stand and Deliver. Just because I feel like right now, if New Day didn't have the NXT tag titles, they would have nothing else really going on. They've just been kind of floating, existing on SmackDown. And right now, I don't think there's anything major lined up for them for WrestleMania weekend. So, but just have the New Day involved in somehow in the weekend festivities. I think having them at Stand and Deliver is a great spot for them, kind of like how Dolph was last year. So I have a feeling they'll retain here, hold the titles for a couple more months, help with the tag team division some more, and then drop them to someone at Stand and Deliver. That's just kind of one feeling I have there. All right. 2 out of 3 falls match between Carmelo Hayes and Apollo Crews. They've been going back and forth for weeks now, and kind of, Apollo, since he lost from Braun Breaker, still kind of fighting himself. Carmelo, no longer the North American champion. He's also kind of trying to find himself. So you guys on a collision course with each other. I have one thought here, but I'll turn to you. Who are you kind of leaning towards?
I'm going with Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah. So not to foreshadow my pick for the main event, but I think Carmelo wins here, and I think he moves on to the main event title scene, the NXT Championship. So he needs this win, the springboard there, and I think Carmelo Hayes will win at Stand and Deliver WrestleMania week and become the new NXT champion. So we'll talk about Braun Breaker in a second. But for the NXT women's tag team titles, got Katana Chance and Kaden Carter versus Valen Henley and Kiana James. This new friendship that they've had because of their relationship with Briggs and Jensen. Valen's been like their friend or female manager, but also wrestler with them. Who is it? Let's see, was it Briggs? Wait, is it Briggs the one that has the crush on? No, Brooks Jensen.
Brooks Jensen.
Yeah, Brooks Jensen's the one that has a big crush on Kiana James, and she's finally kind of giving in and kind of flirting back with him. So by being associated with him, she's become friends with Valen Henley, and they kind of formed this tag team partnership. I think there's got to be some sort of title change on this show. And if I had to pick one, I think that this will be the match for it. Because I feel like all these all these titles are on the line. There's going to be at least one title change. And I think this is the one that might be the likely one.
Wow. I'm going to say Katana Chance and Kaden Carter retain.
Okay.
I'm going to say they retain. I'll tell you why once we get to this next one.
All right. Main event time. Braun Breaker defending the NXT Championship against Grayson Waller. I'm thinking Braun Breaker retains and then sets up a program with Carmelo Hayes. They have a match at Stand and Deliver WrestleMania weekend. I think that's where Braun will finally drop the title. Carmelo Hayes will win the NXT Championship, becomes the new face of NXT. He's paid his dues. He gets a turn to run the show. He's been saying he's been the A-champ all year long with the NXT North American title. Let him actually get the actual NXT championships. Let him see what he can do. And I think Braun Breaker can then eventually get called up post WrestleMania with the draft that's supposedly going to happen then. So I don't know. What about you? What are you thinking, man?
That sounds great. All that Braun Breaker, Stand and Deliver, all that is probably going to happen. But I'm gonna hope and go with Grayson Waller.
Okay.
Not because I don't like Braun Breaker, because I just feel like, man, what an impact, what a upset that'll be. I'm not like everyone else, or at least the majority of people who watch NXT on a regular basis, who have kind of grown frustrated with Braun Breaker's reign, or whether some say he's boring, some say he's missing something. He hasn't had too many meaningful opponents. I feel like Grayson Waller has definitely talked and walked himself into making people believe that he has a chance at beating Braun Breaker in that steel cage match. I'm gonna hope and say Grayson
that's
Waller.
right. I'm sorry. Yeah, I forgot to mention it is a steel cage match. Thank you for saying that. So you think Grayson Waller?
And I just feel like he's so good, and it would be such an upset. And I know Braun Breaker has dealt with a few upsets last year.
Yeah,
right. Him losing the championship, but I felt like when they did that swerve with Dolph Ziggler, and I get it, Braun didn't take the pin there, right? I think it was Ciampa.
Oh yeah.
The pin.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like, man, what a nice swerve that'll be. I know everyone's banking on Braun Breaker Carmelo Hayes is what everybody's been talking about. Where Carmelo Hayes finally beats Braun. But man, I don't know. Grayson Waller might be the guy.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I know what he's talking about, man. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do here. So yeah, looking forward to Vengeance Day this Saturday on Peacock, and just seeing NXT in a different setting. I'm excited. I'm sure the wrestlers are excited to travel. They've been doing house shows on that loop in Florida. So then to get out of Florida and do something different, it's gonna be really exciting. I can't wait for the energy to come through the screen, as they say. So. All right. Well, on that note, let's start wrapping things up. Brian, where can the Kliqsters find you online?
Kliqsters, you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at BrianTronic.
And I'm Baby Huey. Follow me on Facebook at Baby Huey Official, Twitter and Instagram at Baby Huey83. Please subscribe to In The Kliq wherever you get your podcast at. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on social media at In The Kliq. Email us anytime at inthekliq@gmail.com. And on that note, let's go home. And that's the bottom line, because Huey said so.